joined here live with a couple members of the T.A.P.S program, Diana Hosford and Jessica Harper, joining me all the way from, D.C. area? Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir.
Welcome in. Long trek, I know, but it's good to have you both on the show. How are we doing on this Tuesday?
Great. Happy to be here. California sunshine, Super Bowl week. Couldn't be better.
Certainly.
It's been an amazing experience walking around Super Bowl experience, the media row, all the energy, and excited to have a chance to talk to you guys about what we do.
Exactly. And you all have been kind of settling in for the last few days. You were telling me right before we went on air that you've been in town since about Friday, you said last week, and you both are, of course, members of the national nonprofit organization T.A.P.S, which stands for Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. So no better people to explain what you work for than you. So explain to the people at home who are listening what T.A.P.S is.
T.A.P.S is a national nonprofit in the United States that cares for the families of fallen military service members. We started in 1994 in peacetime, and we care for families, really anyone who has lost a loved one, military loved one or veteran, regardless of the cause of death and regardless of the relation to the deceased. And it's been an incredible program to work on, because we're able to really have impact with the families directly.
Yeah.
It's so personal, right? That this is somebody who's not there to teach their son how to play football, walk their daughter down the aisle, those kinds of things. So we create these beautiful opportunities in these moments for families through sport to celebrate their life and service of their loved one.
And you both have been into this program. How long have you been a part of this for both of you? When did you get introduced to this program yourselves?
So mine's a little different. My sister lost her fiance, Staff Sergeant Michael Hollander, in 2007. And I had a good friend who knew about T.A.P.S and introduced my family to T.A.P.S. So we started coming to events in 2008. But I didn't join the organization and work for them until 2013. That's about when Diana joined and kind of had this amazing concept for, that T.A.P.S does a lot of, as she said, work in the community. We have good grief camps for kids. We have national seminars. We have retreats, different programming. But there was not really a sports component, and there wasn't necessarily an honor and remember component. Most of our events focused around survivors. What we do a little differently in sports and entertainment is do things in honor of people's loved ones. So, if you're a big fan of, let's say, the San Francisco 49ers, right?
Yeah.
And you have these amazing memories of going with your dad, and your dad, is no longer there to take you to a game, or maybe you never got the chance. We can't bring, your loved one back, but what we can do is work with the team to create a special experience in honor of your fallen hero, in honor of your loved one. So when you go to a game, right, and your dad is maybe honored, his life and service with his favorite team, and it's then a memory you have, it's that connection, it's that childhood memory. And it's also sometimes a gateway to a lot of the grief work we do at T.A.P.S. It's not always the most fun to sit there and think about, talking about your grief or, being sad. But a lot of times, if you're able to go and meet other people who are in the same situation that you are, another surviving dad, another surviving kid, you realize you have a lot in common, and you start talking. And that's kind of the magic of that peer-based emotional support that T.A.P.S creates. And
Danny, just thinking about the whole idea of it, a lot of grief is hard for a lot of people. Grief's a lot of hard, like you mentioned, for kids who deal with it, right? And just how you handle that and how they handle that through this program. Just what are some of the incredible things this program can do for the kids, because it's so hard to talk about this kind of stuff, right, for people who go through these situations.
You are absolutely right. It is so hard. But what T.A.P.S does for families, it gives them a safe space. It gives children other kids. They might be the only kid in their school whose dad died by suicide, or they lost a sibling, right, to illness after military service. Or killed in action loss. So when they come to T.A.P.S, there's an immediate community of people just like them who they can connect with and share with and bond with. And so it happens with our kids, it happens with our young adults, and obviously our adult program as well. But those people who get it, they start the book on, chapter 9, right? It's like we understand why we're there. We're there because we love someone who served and died. So that connection is great, and it allows them to just feel more free to share and then have fun and laugh again. And that's what the sports program really does. It gives people an opportunity to smile, right? There's no Teams for T.A.P.S event that we do where there aren't tears at some point because their loved one's not there. But then there's like initials on the back of their dad's favorite player's helmet, right? Or they're standing on the on the sidelines for the national anthem with their hand over their heart in honor of their loved one, right? So there's those moments. But yeah, we do the hard stuff.
And in terms of the partnership with the NFL and the teams, how did it become a partnership in that way, and knowing that this was an avenue for a lot of people to be able to go through the grief that they go through, but also to I don't know how to best describe it. There's a term for it, but just trying to get through a situation like that in any which way. But when did that partnership begin with the NFL in that sense, and how it's really grown? I see, you with the NFL drafts now becoming an event, the Pro Bowl events, obviously a family cheer for the Super Bowl, right? So how did that partnership grow through that?
So the sports program started in 2013.
Yeah.
Our first team was the Commanders. Our first city was really Washington, D.C. We wanted all the teams in one city. So then we started working with other NFL teams in other cities, and we started working with the clubs, and then we started talking to the league. And then one meeting, Jess and I are up in New York, and the league said, so if we fund programming, we'd like to be part of the healing.
Yeah.
We love seeing the family at the events, enjoying it, celebrating their heroes, but we want to be part of the healing. So then we were able to create, with like the machine of the NFL, incredible programming that not only supported the incredibly joyful moments, but some of that really important grief programming that the NFL supports. And so we've been Salute to Service partners for like a decade, and it's been amazing.
Jessica, I noticed there's a button you're wearing, and I think just describe what you're kind of wearing there. For the people who are at home, what are you wearing? It's a big button.
We talk about honoring our loved ones. We always want them with us. So as I said, this is my sister's fiance, Staff Sergeant Michael Hollander. He was killed in action in Iraq in 2007, how my family came to TAPS. But what we do, as I said, the honor and remember component, we make sure our families, when we do events at TAPS, we have their fallen hero photo button. So at a national seminar, a good grief camp, and actually we are partnering with the NFL for the first time to do a Salute to Service project here at Super Bowl Experience with the 4 other Salute to Service partners, and our project will be making photo buttons. So we'll have local TAPS families in the San Francisco area, and they're going to make photo buttons for other survivors who are attending our national event in May over Memorial Day weekend. And so it's really important, it's not just, I think a lot of times people forget our military. They are their moms, their daughters, their husbands, their, brothers. And so a lot of times you see a military as like a hero or, a name on the wall. We try to also bring that personal aspect. So when we do our Salute to Service events, we write bios, right? So you might be like, oh, he liked, potato chips and he used to swim. And so sometimes we'll pair up with players. Players will honor fallen heroes by wearing initials on helmets and meet the family, and so they can usually find, I might not understand what you're going through military loss, but I would understand what it would be like if I lost my brother or I lost my dad. And so it's a really nice, meaningful way, to bring those families together. We talk a lot about TAPS. We don't ever move on, but we do move forward.
Yeah.
Right. And how we give people the skills to move forward along their grief journey, and to honor their loved ones, and, they're always with us. I wear Mike at every event I go to. My sister will be here tomorrow doing the service project. She lives in the area. We just want to make sure, you don't forget about someone you love.
Right. And for the people who out there are listening, who have gone through this, or maybe not know about TAPS, Diana, explain for the people at home how they can kind of get involved if this is something, because it's a nationwide thing, right?
It is a national thing.
It's a national thing, yeah.
There are grieving military families in every community in America. That's just the facts. So whenever a new team will come on, do you have any families in, fill in the blank city? And of course we do. Right, and we have meaningful stories. So if people want to get involved, anyone can get involved. This is America's family, the grieving families of America's fallen heroes. So you can go online. You can certainly donate. I mean, that would be a wonderful way to support the program. You can volunteer. If you're a military service member or veteran, you can mentor bereaved military children. Go through our mentor program, which is incredible. We have thousands of mentors across America who engage our children, and often find that the healing that the children are going through is as healing for them, right? They're able to then share with children who are often removed from the military community after their loved one dies.
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps that connection going. So our mentor program is extraordinary. It's actually one of the programs that the NFL supports, which is fantastic. So yes, visit us at TAPS.org. It's our website, or any of our social media platforms, and see all the goodness and the greatness.
Yeah, and I got to imagine just your own experiences, right, with this, and every time you interact with families that go through this program, right? I know you've got a couple families that are going to be at the game this coming Sunday, so that's exciting, right? Are you able to tell us who's?
We have two families.
Yeah.
Our first family is a local family here. It's a surviving brother. He lost his brother serving in the Navy, so it's going to be him and his daughter. They have done multiple salute to service events with the 49ers, big 49ers fans. And so the daughter, the surviving niece, never really got to know her uncle. And so when she gets to do these events with the 49ers and the NFL, it's like a present. Her uncle would have taken her, something they can do as a family, and they can talk about him and how much he loved the team. We also have an incredibly lovely family coming from Arizona. It was a donation by the Arizona Cardinals, and they surprised him. He's a surviving dad, and did a salute to service event this year with the team. So we'll have our two families there, honoring their loved ones, getting to be a part of this amazing experience. And, when that flyover happens, that national anthem happens, it's special, and they'll be able to have that memory for the rest of their lives, right? That we can't bring their loved one back, but to have that special experience, to have that be that moment, that is something they're going to remember, and it gives them something to talk about, right? To share about their son. That's not always a sad moment. It'll be like, oh my gosh, we were at the Super Bowl, and we were there with T.A.P.S, and we were there honoring my son. And so I think for Diana and I, when she was creating the program, I don't know if she saw it going that far, but it's just that lovely moment when people tell us, to have that moment of joy, to have that meaning, and to be a part of those big celebrations.
Yeah.
It's really special.
Do you sit back and look at how this thing's grown, Diana, and just amaze at it, or?
It warms my heart, and it just a pinch me moment, to think. So the idea, T.A.P.S was founded by Bonnie Carroll in 1994. She's extraordinary, and so when I came into T.A.P.S at the end of 2012, she asked me to go to Afghanistan with her about 10 weeks later. And I went, and the idea for the sports program, I joke it was born on a sleepless night on base in Kabul, because I was just thinking something needed to be born from the experience of going to a war zone, and I wanted to do something powerful and impactful for this community. And I never felt more patriotic in my life. You're on base with 1,200 Allied forces, and they're strategizing and they're talking, or they're doing all of these things, and it's just so unbelievable. And so I was lying on my little bed on base, and I'm thinking, I need to build something. Something needs to be born from this. And I started thinking about sport and the universality of sport. So if you say to me April 2013 to now, it's just I smile. And it's people like Jessica, who has been by my side in this for the last 11 years, right? And then, the amazing people who work for us. But it's also people, like the NFL and our sports partners, but it's also the families. They allow us to honor their loved one. They walk into a place and space that was meaningful to their hero, and then they honor them. It's wonderful, and it's heartwarming, but it's really emotional, right? And so those moments, so yes, all of the great work that we do is all dependent on, the league saying yes, or the team saying yes, or the family saying yes. And it's up to us to just, sort of bear witness to the magic that's made and just be grateful for it.
Well, it's wonderful to hear all the great impactful things that you guys have done with this program, and of course the way people can get involved, whether I say donating or serving as a volunteer. There's all kinds of opportunities you can get involved. Even if you're not the one affected, people can be affected by you, right? In that sense. And so it's great to chat with you both about this program, and I wish you safe travels and endeavors on everything. I do, and I'm sorry, this is a sports show, so I do have to ask one sports question. Who's winning the Super Bowl on Sunday? I'm going to ask every guest we have on. Who do you got?
I defer to Jessica.
So professionally, we work with both the Patriots and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So we are hoping for a good, high-scoring game with no injuries. Personally, I grew up in Maine and was a New England Patriot fan before I started this job. And so for my heart of hearts, I am a Pats fan, and so I am hoping they're going to pull out a win. But I would also be very, very proud if the Seahawks brought home that trophy.
Absolutely, of course, and it's hopefully going to be a wonderful game on Sunday, and for the families to enjoy and for the folks to enjoy at home as well. And it's going to be exciting. Well, I appreciate you both. You guys are running around. It's going to be exciting, and you told me you're going to be at the NBA next week in terms of that too. So it's going to be great too.
All the sports,
all around
all
in terms of
that.
TAPS.org, right? That's where you pay.
TAPS.org.
TAPS.org, easy enough. All right, well, I appreciate you both for joining me on the show today, and best of luck on the rest of everything.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, Diana Hosford and Jessica Harper with TAPS here on 1430 ESPN.